Hey everyone, Pugs here with just one new review for y'all because today I'm covering Frozen Face Off, which is a rather ironic episode to be reviewing because for me it's still the middle of summer and it's pretty hot outside today as I record this, so very much one of those cases of opposite vibes, but I suppose it's only fair this has happened since I believe this was the case for reviewing Sun-Bleached and or SpongeBob SquarePants versus the Big One. Alright, well, let me get back on track and go ahead and say thank you to everyone watching today. I always love when I review specials since I get to make these funky little graphics for them. And now, let's just get right into it. I've always liked Frozen Face Off. I'm not sure if that's an unpopular opinion or not. I don't see enough discussions about this episode to figure that out, and honestly, because of that, I'd say that this episode leans closer to the edge of being forgotten more than anything, which is a shame because I think that this is a neat little special episode. The Frozen theme makes it unique, although I wonder if this is to the episode's detriment, as snow and winter is often associated with Christmas specials, and a Christmas special this episode is not. When Frozen Face Off begins, I'm really glad that it wastes absolutely no time in getting to the plot as we open on the newscast that inspires our characters to enter the sled race. First of all, I love everyone's little outfits for the race, they're all so cute and so on theme. I also love everyone's different sleds, they're all very revealing of who they are. It's like Mario Kart, or Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, which was my racing game of choice as a child. SpongeBob's little jellyfish decorated sled is so cute. I also think that it stays funny that SpongeBob can drive anything but a boat. I know in this case a sled is very different from a car, but still. Gary being the mush dog here is a win for me because Gary inclusion, not to mention that this role basically makes him the most important character in the episode. And I love how this show combines cat and dog traits with Gary. Yeah, he's known as the cat allegory, but he's got a lot of dog traits too. Karen pretending to be a worm is also hilarious, and I love some good competition between Plankton and Krabs. And then we get the reveal that Plankton is up to something as we see him sneaking off before the race begins with what is clearly a decoy sitting in his place. So basically, all in all, this is an excellent beginning to our episode. Once the race gets started, it's pretty entertaining. I'm not really gonna say a lot here because while I wouldn't call this episode repetitive, there's not a lot more for me to point out here that aren't just variations on a theme. But basically, as the race goes on, SpongeBob ends up picking up, like, all of his friends who are in various stages of disaster and catastrophe, including being frozen over. Poor Gary having to pull the increasing number of people makes me feel bad, but not, like, seriously bad. He gets plenty of moments to shine in this episode, which makes me very, very happy. And the way each of the other main characters here, have to join SpongeBob's sled is pretty good. I especially love how Squidward's worm just stopped to have a spot of tea. Poor Squidward keeps getting frozen in this episode, which I think is a pretty funny gag. And I like how all of the characters come together pretty quickly too. I'm reminded a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants versus the Big One when watching this episode, which is great because I like that episode, and I also find it funny that episodes with such opposite vibes can have so many similarities. And it doesn't take too long from here for our main characters to get trapped by an avalanche. At least Gary is nice and toasty. At this point, we get the completely random yet very much welcome addition of the stop-motion abominable snow mollusk. This is very unexpected, but I like it. And Mr. Krabs having a past with it is great too because sure, why not? Makes me think of Skips from Regular Show and Dying for Pie. And I love how it ends up with Squidward frozen again, too. So useless. And after an entertaining and daring rescue by SpongeBob, somehow Mr. Krabs thinks it's a good idea to run after the prize himself because he's short-sighted and lacking in common sense. We then get the reveal of Karen frozen in the snow, which then reveals Plankton's plot. He set up the race just so he could steal the formula, as Plankton is want to do. Plankton is pretty low down for doing this to his wife, though. I also just really like how Karen actually has stuff to do in this episode, and she feels more like a part of the gang here, which I am a huge fan of. Like, please, more of this. And we see Sandy being a problem-solving genius in this episode, which is yet another win for me because I love seeing her kick ass academically. I love all the action sequences of this episode. They're just very fun. And then SpongeBob saves Gary from basically dying, so that's yet another win, and I'm taking it as an additional apology for a pal for Gary because I can, and it makes me feel better, so I'm doing it. moving the focus over to Plankton's little side plot for a second, this section is mostly a bunch of funny gags as Plankton tries to get the safe to open, and of course it ends with the funniest one of Plankton accidentally performing nuclear fission. I also love the way that the main cast comes in pissed the fuck off and ready to beat Plankton's ass. And surprisingly, Plankton actually does win for a little bit in this episode, like with stealing the formula and even overcoming the roadblock of not being able to open the bottle. And this is thanks to the help of Patrick's foolishness, which for once wasn't annoying, but actually funny like it was intended to be. But of course, Plankton can never truly win, so he loses spectacularly by being eaten by the abominable snow mollusk, which is deserved. I really enjoyed Frozen Face Off, and this is definitely an underrated little special. And again, I say that because it's so rarely brought up. I'm not really sure what the popular opinion is, but I really loved that the special included so much of the main cast, only missing Pearl and Mrs. Puff as special episodes tend to do. There isn't really anything I dislike about this episode either, and it has that wow factor that I so covet, so it's a worthy addition to my amazing tier, where it comes in with a score of 9.1 out of 10. As always, I'll be ending this video with some closing thoughts of mine, and this review is so short. I actually really did try to pad it out, but for some reason, even though I like this episode, I've never had a lot to say about it. I don't know if that just means that it's an episode without a lot of substance. I mean, if it is, I still like it no matter what. But yeah, there's really very little for me to say when it comes to this episode, and I almost feel bad because, who wants to watch a special episode review that's so fucking short? But there's really nothing I can, add here that wouldn't just be repetitive nonsense. So, yeah, I do think it is really funny to have the, difference between my environment and the contents of this episode. Making the graphics for this one was really fun. I surprisingly did not take that long trying to decide what I wanted Gary to be, because that's usually my biggest obstacle, is that I'll spend forever trying to find the exact correct thing that I want for Gary, but I had a good idea of what I wanted this time, and it worked out fine. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can say for these closing thoughts. I guess I'll just go ahead and close the review out here. Man, I feel like this is literally my shortest video ever. But yeah, so I'll just close the video out here, and I'll see y'all in the next review.